think we also have to mention what we will not use in this
Yeah.
traineeship. We had a discussion about it a couple of times because I'm very much into the calendar. You're also, but we also have given traineeships to students, and when the calendar comes in, it becomes quite complex for the people.
Yes.
So let's talk about that a little bit. What we not going to share in this traineeship, it will come in a later traineeship,
Yes.
but we will leave out for this moment the calendar, not the branches, not the seasons. So the seasons and the branches will, of course, be in this traineeship. But we have been spoken, okay, leave the calendar for this part a little bit alone.
Yes,
So,
and I think well, we have good reasons for that, and no, it's not to so that we are able to give a second workshop and people must apply to that second workshop, but it's
no,
mainly to keep the material. Um, how do you say that in English? To
compounded?
the manageable, to keep it manageable and
Okay.
understandable. I know that. When you introduce the calendar, when you look at the influence of the calendar on Wenwang Gua outcome, when you talk about that and everything that's related to that, the whole system explodes. And from that moment on, most students get confused because then suddenly everything that you have taught until then suddenly can change. At least that is how people often view the influence of the calendar. Oh,
Mm.
I interpreted this line as being positive, and now the calendar comes with it, and now it's suddenly not positive anymore. But so, what does that say about my initial interpretation? So, adding the calendar can add more confusion to your interpretation, and that is not what I want when you start with Wenwang Gua. Um, and I also want to show that it is perfectly fine to use Wenwang Gua without the calendar. And I have so many
Yeah,
examples where of Wenwang Gua uses in which the calendar is not used, in which simple there's focused on a sex relationship and how that relates to the seasons and that's it. Period.
yeah,
And most of these Wenwang Gua interpretations in the oldest sources, the interpretation of the outcome is really short, maybe a few lines, and that's it. And whereas if we look at the Western sources, I often see these long interpretations describing each possible element and relationship in a hexagram and naming everything that can be found in a hexagram. And if you add the calendar to that as well, then you get that information
yeah, yeah, yeah,
overload.
yeah. Yeah, and absolutely. So the ancient Chinese, they knew the calendar, of course, in their head already, like Wu saying. But it is for our Western people more comprehensible to uh, to do it like this. And we also saw, well, you said, okay, the calendar can really blow your interpretation. I'm not sure if I'm feeling that. It's more like the calendar can enhance it and then show, okay, what to do when.
Yeah.
But you have to get a firm grip of Bemagua before you go to the calendar. If you go to the calendar with all these systems of the stems and branches, um, this is something you have to put in your mind first, or in your head first, and then comes to the heart. Uh,
Yeah, well, you know,
different things.
the calendar within Wenwang Gua, the calendar, as the way I see it, has a specific purpose. And if you
Absolutely.
don't need, are not interested in that purpose, you don't need necessarily need the calendar because the calendar is about timing,
Yeah.
timeliness. If you're not interested in that aspect of your situation, but I mean, if you just want to understand your current situation, you want to understand all the elements that are in your situation, all the other people, all the other influences at this very moment, then you don't really need
No.
the calendar. However, if you want to know when to do something, that is the right time for something, or you have chosen a date and you want to know, is that the best date for me for a wedding or for a football match, whatever?
For
Uh,
surgery.
yeah, for surgery. Um, that is where you need the
Yeah.
calendar. But if you're not going to address that specific aspect of your situation, then you can do without the calendar.
Yeah.
So, which automatically means that questions about timing, the best time, etc., can best be addressed in the workshop in which we're going to talk about the calendar.
Yeah.
So, and the main advantage of ignoring the calendar for now is also that you are forced to focus on the hexagon as it is
Yeah.
in front of you.
Yeah.
And in your current situation, it automatically forces you to look at your situation in the here and now.
Yeah.
And whereas if you use the calendar, it's mainly about, okay, so how does this develop, and what are good days in this whole project, in this whole process, and which dates should I preferably avoid, etc. So, but it is good for potential students to know that we will not going to address the calendar, because if you already know Wenwang Gua and you think, yay, I'm going to learn the whole system, including the calendar, which I find very complex, so hooray. Well, this is not yet that
No.
workshop. It will be the second workshop in which we can, and in that workshop we will focus on all the details of the calendar, but also show you how you can use the calendar in a way that it doesn't overwhelm you.
Yeah. And that's for sure. But what are we going to do? We are, when it comes to the calendar, we're going to use the seasons, of course, and see how they work in the Wusing, in the five elements, on the lines. What topics are we giving?
Oh, that is the list is almost endless.
Yeah,
Because when you go back to the oldest sources, there are so many interesting things that I think, oh, this is and specifically these little things that make Wenwang Gua so much fun. Like for instance, the Guashen, which is a system that
yeah,
wild cranes, he removed it. So the Jianyao, the lines between the self and the other lines, they also have meaning. We're going to introduce that back into Wenwang Gua because that's also being left out. And there's several more of these kind of things that are in the oldest Wenwang Gua books that we are going to, I'm not going to name them all now,
no, no,
but
no,
there's so
no.
much more. And so we're going to introduce, to the best of our abilities, these old layers and these old principles from Wenwang Gua.
I'm looking
Uh,
forward to that.
yeah, me as well. Because to me, this still is a journey of discovery and finding out what kind of treasures are waiting for us to be found. Because you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We know the further we go, the more there is like, what the?
yes, you have no idea about
No.
what has been written about Wenwang Gua. Books of thousands of pages with all these interesting ideas, interesting systems, interesting thoughts that you can apply. And I'm mainly going to look for the practical stuff. I'm not
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah. But
interested in the philosophy stuff
oh,
because
yeah.
if I also have to look at the philosophy chapters, then this workshop will never
Okay,
take place.
just give all the philosophy chapters to me. I love that kind of stuff.
Okay, then I'll give it, but I only have it in Chinese for you.
Yeah,
So,
no, no, no problem. I
okay,
can
good.
translate it somewhere. But also, it's written in such a beautiful poetry most of the time.
Yeah,
You can go with the poetry and see, okay, how this connects with you. So that's image in words.
yes, yeah. No,
Okay.
fine. If I find something that I think, well, this is for Johannes, I'll send it your way.
Okay. Just send it
Uh,
over.
yeah.
Okay. Or should we tell more at this moment? I guess we introduced it by now.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe it might be convenient for the student to know what we require of them. Is there any, I mean, we talked about the knowledge that
Yeah.
the basic knowledge that they need to have at least about the Yijing, hexagram, trigrams, etc. Is there anything else that they need or don't need for this training? Do they need specific books? I don't think so. I think we
I
will
don't
give
think
it.
so. No, 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 no. No, no, no. I want all the students to be open, not to have that kind of book, not to have such books. Uh, just come open and have your knowledge about Yijing, trigrams, and there will be an assessment you see on the academy.
Yes.
Just do that,
Yeah,
and
just to be clear about that assessment
yeah,
test, that is only meant for yourself to
yeah,
decide if you feel comfortable with entering the course. We are not going to decide for you.
no,
If the assessment test shows you, well, you might need to work on trigrams a little bit more, then we're not going to say, sorry, you're out.
no.
You can still join, but then you at least know, well, I have to work on this to be able to understand
Yeah, because
everything from the course, maybe.
yeah,
So,
we're not gonna address that in the course
no,
and are not prone to answer these kind of questions. These
no,
questions are going to be on Wenwang Gua and build up a community with that. But we're not gonna talk about what is trigram thunder, for
no,
example.
no,
You should be able to know that and how these trigrams work. But there is an assessment, just do it. And indeed, you're not rejected,
no.
but you
Everybody is
know
welcome. Really, everybody
everybody
is
is
welcome.
welcome. Yeah,
Yeah,
but you know what is the level.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I have my
anything
to-do
more to
list here.
share? You have your to-do list,
And
yeah.
I think we covered all the points from the to-do list here. And
Okay,
yeah, but I'm very much looking forward to this training. You know, actually,
yeah,
this started actually I think about 5 years ago when I thought I wanted to write a book about Wenwang Gua, and which I very arrogantly saw as the Wenwang Gua Bible.
no, it
Because
wasn't.
there's so much
Yeah,
material in all the ancient sources that is not being shared with the West. So I thought I'm going to put everything in that book, and I asked you to cooperate in writing that book, um, and that is still an ongoing process.
yeah,
But and it might take maybe 5 years before the book is finished. And at one point I thought, everything that we're doing so far, it would be really a waste of all the material if we don't share that already with
yeah,
the students and also use the teachings and input from the students to make our book better.
yeah.
And then that's actually where this whole idea for the training comes from. That all the material that we have gathered so far and are still gathering to share that with the student without having the need to wait until a book is finished.
No,
So
yeah, and this is giving me like the goosebumps, or because that's it. The working on it and with it and writing the book, then all kinds of material arises about doing it like this.
yeah, and to me it's also
That will spark a fire.
way more fun to do it like this.
Yeah,
This is very stimulating for me, and it. No, normally when you write a book, you have these exciting things, and you think, "Oh, whoa, this is great!"
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm going to write that down. And 5 years later, people are going to read it in that book, and I think, no, it's just so great to be able, with all the modern techniques that we have these days, to share it right
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
immediately. So and that is very very stimulating for me.
Yep. I feel that. I feel that, my friend. Okay. Um,
Yeah, I think that we have discussed discussed everything now about this training, and I hope that the people who are watching this video are just as enthusiastic about it as we are. So people can sign up.
always. And we're gonna show the link wherever you will see it and you can sign up. Uh, we are welcoming you. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Johannes. Looking forward to all this.
Thank you.